Hello there, welcome back to the acoustic guitar build. Today we're going to be cutting the dovetail tenon on the neck. The first step in this is trimming the sides of the neck. The last time we were together for this build, I glued together the heel block and glued it onto the end of the neck. And so now I need to cut off all the overhang. And we're going to be cutting a dovetail tenon into this neck heel. And this is why it's been so long since I did anything on this build. I've never done this before. And it's a critical step. This is how the neck joins the body of the guitar, and if I screw this up, it's firewood, pretty much. I can rebuild a neck if I mess the neck up, but if I mess the mortise and the body up, this build is finished. So this is a critical step. And when I run into steps like that, I tend to just stop and think for a long time until I just run it through my head over and over again until I'm sure that I have done everything I can and thought of everything that I could think of. And so after we trim this, I'm gonna take a hand plane and smooth it out. And you don't really have to do this because most of this is going to get cut away anyway. But it's easier to work with if everything is smooth and flush. So I do this step. Now what I have to do is I have to mark the location of the 14th fret because that is where this neck will join the body at the 14th fret. And I'm sorry that the camera was in the wrong position. You can't really see a lot of what I'm doing. But I'm going to draw a line there at the 14th fret position. Then what I did was I marked another line a ½ inch past that. ½ inch is the length of the tenon, the dovetail tenon. And so I'm going to carry that mark all the way around the neck block. And then I'll just cut that flush at a ½ inch past the 14th fret. And there's a lot of ways that you can join the neck of a guitar to the body. But the dovetail has an element of craftsmanship. Since I like to build with hand tools, it really does appeal to me. And so that's why I chose it. And ever since I've been a little boy, everybody that was anything said that the dovetail was the joint for acoustic guitars. Been relied on for at least 100 years or more. Like I said, there are other ways, and there's nothing wrong with any of them, but I choose the dovetail. And now what I'm doing is I'm getting the angle that I need to cut into the heel to make the neck pitch back the way it's supposed to. This guitar is not flat. It has a dome. So I transferred that angle to the shoulders of the tenon and laid the tenon out on the end of the neck heel. And now it's time to cut it. And you know, I said that I thought about this for a long time. There comes a point where you just have to cut. You just have to work the wood. There's a point at which you've thought as much as you can, and I'm at that point. But like I said, this is critical. It's not something that I take lightly, and I hope that I can do this well. From what I've looked at, it's not really a complicated joint, but there's a lot, no matter how you slice it, you have to get the angle, the pitch back of the neck proper so that you have proper height over the bridge. It has to be centered on the guitar. It can't be twisted. It has to be flat or coplanar, I guess you'd call it, with the body of the guitar. That kind of deal. This is not anything that you can take lightly, and I'm not. What I really have, and here you see that line that I'm cutting. That is the line that determines that angle that I took off of the body. These are called the shoulders of the tenon, and they control pretty much everything. And checking to make sure I don't go too far. And now the other side. I really would love to have a Western dovetail saw, but they're too expensive. I can't even find an old used one that I can find and rehab. But a Western dovetail with a handle like a Western saw instead of this little straight pull thing is Japanese jobby. I really am more comfortable with the Western style. I just don't have the money for a good dovetail saw. A cheap one is a cheap one. And when you're cutting something like this, the quality of the saw makes a difference. And that's the most expensive saw I own. It's my fret saw. And finished. Now I'll need to clean this up and smooth it out and make sure everything's good and square to each other and all of that, and then we'll be back to cut the mortise in the body. Thanks for watching. Bless you. I'll talk to you later.